We're going to go through some tips on measuring. Definitely make sure that you have a sharp pencil. If you are in my drawing class, I gave you something that says H on it. I gave you an H pencil, a 2B pencil, and a 6B pencil. I would like you to use the pencil that has an H on it. I gave you guys HB specifically. Some of you might have just gotten an H pencil. But in order to be really good at measuring, those of you who are in my classroom, you can see me physically standing above my paper. That is the best way to make your measurements accurate. So I'm going to take my paper, move it closer towards me so I can see it, and I'm lining up my ruler, not with the edge of the ruler, but with that number, that 0 line, that very first line on my ruler. Now I am holding my ruler with my fingers spread apart, and I am going to make a little tiny tick mark. A tick mark is a continuation mark. It's just a small dot. It's not a long line. It's a continuation of this inch. And the way that I make my measurements be very accurate is I look from above. So I got incredibly light tick marks. That's what I call them. I'm sure they're called something else. I do not want you to press down heavy. I do not want you to make them long, because it will make it crooked. So if yours look like that, you are going to be struggling, because we are going to erase this grid later. So we need to be able to draw lightly. So that's why I'm saying use the H pencil. Now if you are using that H pencil and you press down heavy, it's still going to be light. That's going to be hard as heck to erase, kids. So I got to make these tick lines at the top, bottom, left, and right. Dear God, it's important that you do this. Okay, so I just did my top ones. Check. All right, before I forget, I'm going to do my bottom ones. But this is the really important part. If you're using a computer sheet of paper, it is 8.5 inches. 8.5. Ah! That means if I was to flip around my piece of paper right now, and I did my tick marks, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing this really quickly and very poorly because I know it's going to be a mess. And then I have my 1/2 inch on this side. Let me zoom out and show you my problem. Oh, I'm not zoomed out far enough. I got one on this corner and this corner. So when I go to line up, I need to get more books to stack this up on. When I go to line up my ruler, I'm going to be making diagonal lines at that point. You can see that that would be a mistake. Gotta get another book or something, whatever. It's too late. It's too late. This'll work. Okay, I found something to help me out to make it higher. It's not tall enough. Never mind. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it over and start over again because that was my bad. But I can do this very quickly. So again, starting at 0, lining my ruler up towards the top of the paper, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5. Save that for later. All right, I'm not going to flip and rotate my paper because that's where you get in a mess. Instead, I'm going to not flip my paper, just do this at the bottom, line it up to 0 to the edge of the paper, start a tick mark at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5. Okay, the papers that I gave you that are nicer that you're going to draw on don't have that problem. This is for practice. So I got my top. Check. I did the bottom. Check. You guys cannot just not, a lot of my students always try to skip that part, doing the top and bottom. They're like, I got this, I can guess. It's going to be a problem. So right now, I'm lining up my paper so that my 0 mark, it doesn't say 0, is lined up at the bottom, and my 11's at the top. It can be flipped. So I'm starting at the bottom, technically, but doesn't matter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I am measuring from where that longer line is, that's right next to the number. This one I can flip because it's going to be the same because it's a whole number, not a half number. Math. Okay, so I did my right side. Check. And now I have to do my left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. If I do not say my numbers as I go, I will get so confused and lost. Oh my gosh. You guys saw me almost spell left wrong. Cool. All right, so now I've got all of my lines all the way around the paper. It has little tiny tick marks, little tiny lines. They're so cute and light. I did such a good job. If you did not do yours lightly, you can easily take your eraser, rub it on its side, and you can lighten it up. All right? Now we're going to connect the dots. We're going to connect them. So I need this to be up higher. This is not tall enough. So hopefully we can see the whole paper now. Yes, we can. I guess so. This could easily fall any minute now. Okay. I'm going to start with my longer lines because that's just who I am today. So I am lining up. I'm going to draw this dark so you can see it. Do not draw this dark. From tick mark to tick mark, I'm taking my ruler. I'm sliding it along till I can barely see those lines. Again, I'm going to press down heavy just so you can see that those lines are now disguised. Do not draw dark. We need to draw lightly. This one was a mistake, just to show you that, okay? So how I hold my ruler is I make an L shape with my hand, and I look at where my tick mark is, and I adjust it, and before I draw, I make sure I snug up along that line. I'm using my non-dominant hand to hold the ruler, and my dominant hand to go alongside of the ruler. And you can just easily slide it along at this point. This is easy for me right now. And look at the difference between the lines. Look at how light those are. This is how light yours should be. We are not the Hulk. We are not trying to draw heavy. Even that one was too heavy. So we are just barely drawing our lines. It's a ghost line because you're going to have to erase this later. Now, this is just a practice paper that I'm using. This is not for my final project. So if you're just drawing on a piece of computer paper, go ahead and knock yourself out and draw it really heavy. Just know it might be a problem in the future if you don't practice that technique now. Okay. So I've got all my vertical lines. Now I'm going to do my horizontal lines. Well, technically they're vertical right now because I have my paper rotated. Again, my non-dominant hand is going from this tick mark to the next one. Tick mark to tick mark from the right to the left. Look at how my hand is holding the pressure. You can still see that cat bite that I had. That happened like 2 months ago. Jeez. Okay. Keep on lining up that ruler and scooching it down. There should be 10 boxes here. Maybe 11. I forget. We're going to number them later. I will want my students to take a picture of their practice grid and turn it into Canvas so I can see if you made any mistakes. So I will post a picture and an assignment with what I expect you to do. All right? Here's the number part. Well, I'm going to do letters up at the top. So in the corners, I'm going to put A. And again, I'm writing incredibly light. You guys need to be able to see it. A, B, C, D. I'm going to show you how light I want you to write. E, F, G, H, and then I. You can barely see them. That's how light you should be writing. And in A, I'm going to write the number 1. A1 steak sauce, right? You can have it on that side too if you want. And then here's going to be the number 2, 3, 4. Again, I'm writing numbers, not heavy. I'm writing them so lightly you can barely see them. Oh my gosh, I just went 4, 5, 4. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 boxes. Some of my students who struggle and get lost easily, I used to have this problem too, where all these boxes were incredibly overwhelming. they would write down, like, this is B1, this is C1, D1, this is 2A, this is 2B, 2C, 2D, 2E. You do not have to do all of that. But technically, like, this is like 3D. This box is. Because this is my row, this is my column. We are going to be using this to help us with our portraits. Because we just made a grid on our portraits. So you should be making a grid very, very lightly. This was a practice grid. I'm going to write big old practice on it. All right. And I will help those of you who have questions now.